Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third webinar of the 18th Social Entrepreneurship for Innovation in Health course. Let's just wait for a minute for all the participants to join this session. And also, for those of you who are able to see us on the screen, please drop a message in the chat box below the screen advising your peers to refresh their browsers just in case they're not able to see us. Also, for those of you who are watching us live, please don't forget to take the survey that you find below the screen that asks you, are you watching us live? Please click yes to get your extra credit points. By now, you know that you get extra marks to watch live webinars. Okay, let's get started. Welcome back to our weekly live webinar series. Our focus of conversation for today will be on the theme of this week's module, that is strategies for advancing social innovation within your institutions. Just a quick recap about Global Making More Health initiative. As you know by now, this is an initiative that explores innovative ways to improve access to healthcare for people, animal, and communities around the world. Before we jump into a conversation with our guest expert for today, just a reminder once again for those of you who are joining right now, please take the survey that you find below the screen that asks you, are you watching us live? You get your extra credit points. Also, don't forget to drop your question for our guest expert in the discussion forum, and we will take them up during the span of the session. And now join me to welcome Beatrice AELTERMAN to this session. Beatrice is the head of Global Health Management at Boehringer Ingelheim. She's a staunch advocate for well-being of employees worldwide. With a distinguished career spanning over 2 decades, she has made a great mark in the field of global health management. Beatrice has dedicated herself to foster the culture of health, open-mindedness, and risk awareness within the organization. Under her leadership, Boehringer Ingelheim has witnessed a paradigm shift in the way health and safety is perceived and practiced today. Beatrice is also an alumnus of this course. Yes, she is an alumnus of this course. So she has completed the course a few years ago and has already implemented some of her learnings in form of an amazing project that she has developed in partnership with a social entrepreneur. So we are going to learn more about that during the span of the session. Beatrice, welcome to this session and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Indrani. Hello, everybody. I'm very pleased to be with you today, to be connected. I would say it's the first time for me to talk externally of the company, so it's a challenge. I excuse myself already for the natural speak I will have with you. So I'm the head of health management for BI since last year, and I would say it's a great challenge. I would say when BI proposed me to take the governance of health, it was really just amazing for me to say, I will contribute to the health. And thanks to the fantastic course I had received from Ashoka as well previously, I was thinking, there is an opportunity for me to drive something there with social entrepreneurs. So I'm very pleased to be with you today to share with you my experience of social entrepreneur in health area.
Thank you, Beatrice. And I'm sure everybody is going to love this because they are also going through the journey that you went a few years back. So, Beatrice, you have more than 20 years of experience, right from real estate to industrial projects to now pharmaceutical industry. Can you tell us briefly about your professional journey?
Yeah, I would say it's also quite diverse. I'm a construction engineer by education, so it's not common for a woman. It's 25 years ago, I would say. And I have started by making different projects, first in a champagne house, very luxurious champagne house, and then after by BI in pharmaceutical area. And then I drove different projects of real estate and became a facility manager in that direction. We've also a lot of challenge of IT projects to drive there. And finally, my heart grew in EHS, environmental health and safety parts more than 10 years ago. And then I grew slowly but surely in that direction. So, and finally, 3 years ago, I joined the global function as a corporate EHS manager. And now I am taking care of occupational health and occupational safety for BI worldwide.
Brilliant. This course is all about health professionals. So I'm sure that there are a lot of things that everybody can take away today. Also, Beatrice, you're part of the leadership at BI. So I'm going to ask you a question from an institution standpoint. What, in your opinion, qualifies as a social innovation for institutions, and why do you think institutions should embrace it?
So I would say for me, what qualifies really this aspect is the collaboration. For me, what was really important is to change the way we work with different partners, because in our structure approach in big company and institution, we have a purchasing part, the partners, the specifications, and then we drive projects or initiatives. And here in this social entrepreneur, it's completely different. You just think about a problem, an issue you want to solve. You don't really have the answer. You don't have the full expertise of it. And you just start to say, hey, with who could I collaborate to try it, to try something new? And then you meet completely new people. You don't have the same aspect of partnership. So really, for me, the collaboration is the most important aspect of this part. And it's also very inclusive, because the background, the experience of the people is completely different from what I was used to meet. So the people I was used to meet before, yeah, very important. And it also brings me in the institution with this holistic health approach, and not only focusing on also existing path.
So it adds diversity also.
Exactly. Collaboration, diversity, being inclusive in the way we partner, and also last but not least, this holistic health approach.
Great. So Beatrice, I have been really, really curious about your entrepreneurial journey in BI, and also the project that you recently co-created with fellow Leah Herbert and the Making More Health team. So could you share a little bit about that? I know you have a presentation, so screen is yours if you want to tell
Okay,
us.
so I will share with you my project. Okay. I think you should see it now, correct?
Yes, it's getting loaded.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see it.
Fantastic. So the project is called Campus Wellbeing, and you will understand very soonly why we called it like this. So ups. So yeah, quickly, it was my journey. I already told you here what I've done. I'm at BI since 2001. I'm the global head of health management since 2022. And I had different role at BI since more than 20 years now. And I'm very pleased to support the occupational safety and the occupational health at BI at the moment, and to try to bring more equity of health also globally in our organization. I told you really what is very important for me. I bring that in the slide as well. Really, this project for me was really a strong collaboration, very inclusive, and with the idea to have an holistic health approach. And for this, we had different partners. So BI was the sponsor for it, and I placed myself in that role as well. And we have built different partnership with Ashoka first, and then with States of Mind, and now we are also working with a tech partner. And of course, what was the most important for us in this project was to engage students, participants, and also NGOs and universities. So that's okay. Something also that is close to my heart is also embracing social innovation to do what? And clearly, again, this collaboration and partnership leads to more effective and holistic solution to social problems. It's empowered communities because we have engaged really the students with us in finding solution to the problem. And last but not least, it contributes to our goal of a sustainable development. So why the Campus Wellbeing Project? Probably I should move my screen here. So my story is there was the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course during this I really observe, and I have 3 teenagers at home, so I would say it was really close from my heart as well. But I really was surprised about how young people were struggling during this period with a lack of social contact, the lack of support, even sometimes the lack of food and way to work, because it was the main cash they had was for some small jobs, so everything was stopped at that period. So that was really, really, really hurting me a lot. And based on that, and after having, of course, the course of Ashoka in my mind, I was thinking, wow, I need to do something. What could I do there? If I want to pitch something, what would it be? And it was really going in that direction. So I was really strongly motivated to address this issue. And then I contacted Ashoka to say, okay, I have no real solution. I know I'm just someone working in a pharmaceutical company, having strict goals, strict frame of work. And I said, how can I drive something to support these young people who are not directly, I would say, in my scope of work? And Ashoka had immediately liked the idea as well, I would say. And they have engaged a young change maker. They have a network of young change maker. And we have started discussion. We have explored together what was the problem I was thinking about, what was the different aspect of it. And we have decided together with the change makers what could be the scope of a project. That was not my decision. It was really a collaborative first approach of a decision. And then with Ashoka, we have decided also to choose a social partner with a high experience on mental health, because really that was coming also from the student. That was where the area where we were struggling the most. So that's why we choose this social partner on mental health, which is State of Mind. And this partner had also a huge experience with university. So they were already have knowledge around what can we approach there. And why we choose this university, that was part also of a discussion with the students, which period of life should we choose from their learning path. And the university was really, I would say, seen as a pivotal moment of a student's life, really, because they have to take a really huge decision. When they leave the college to go to the university, they really have a very engaging decision. And most of the time, when they take this decision, they have only the background of a university about the academic information, but not about the well-being, how they will really perform in that new area, in this new town, far from the family. So it was really difficult, and that's why we have really chosen this period of life. And also clearly there was a need for well-being provision and culture information at that stage as well. So that's why we choose this part of life. So Campus Wellbeing Project aims to provide crucial well-being information. That's the first idea of it, to encourage action to improve students' well-being. That's the second step of it, and of course to support holistic decision-making for university selection. So, and we hope that influencing this environment, we will help to grow well-being with what we have as a knowledge inside BI, but also what we can find outside BI, and all experts we will find to support us in our project. So, sorry. So what can Campus Wellbeing Project provide? First of all, the idea is to address really this with Beringer, Ingelheim, Ashoka, States of Mind, and we enable the students to research, identify the key dimension of well-being. We did not want to say, okay, well-being for us is this, and this. We said, okay, hey, student, tell us really what is important for you, really. What do you want us to foster, really, in this assessment of the university, in this assessment of the support you need when it comes to well-being? And this dimension then will be integrated in an assessment tool. And this assessment tool will be made available on an open platform. And on this open platform, co-designed with the young people, the idea is really to also put experience, recommendation, information, how to take action, or to not only to have really an assessment, but really helping also either the student or university to find somehow tools there. And additionally, the sustainability dimension identified by the study group will be more specifically, of course, explored and incorporated into the platform. So that's where also BI can provide some expertise. So, and our vision of a project is to strengthen the well-being and sustainability culture in the university settings, because it's really also somehow act as an influencer. And you know how far it's important at the moment to influence as well. Students become active part. I had a lot of discussion also during Ashoka meeting in Belgium last year, but directly with the university representative. And what was really interesting is that they have a lack of resources. They have a lack of budget. So students can be somehow on a certain part also contribute to take action. They can be the resources also for the university. And on the other end, the students also was claiming, I remember, that they cannot solve everything because they don't have the expertise. So somehow the sponsorship and companies like us can help in that both direction. And university also proactively form part of the process to improve. That's very important for us. So, Indrena, that was my share with you for from the project.
Great, great. That's end of your presentation.
Correct.
Great, great. First of all, I must say that this project is so relevant, and you will be surprised to see that this fall we have a lot of learners and also some of us speakers who've been talking about mental health. So, mental health is clearly something which is emerging as an area of focus, which a lot of entrepreneurs and ecosystems are focusing on. So, it's a very, very relevant thing. I'm sure that the platform is going to be widely used, and the best thing is that it is globally accessible. So thank you so much for sharing this, and thank you so much for sharing the journey of co-creating. And I was wondering that why did you think about this social problem is because you have three teenagers at home.
As
So
well.
it's naturally I can see the connect now. Um, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is in module 2, which you also have done the course. So, in module 2, we talk about identifying the social issue and kind of, getting to the root of it. And that's exactly what you did before you came kind of, arrived at this project. You identified the social issue, engaged with the stakeholders, and then came up with this problem statement, and then now working on the solution. So we have a lot of our participants like Anna Marie and Bianca. They are asking, what is commonly believed as the first step to do anything is the hardest. So what is your advice for entrepreneurs to get started, or actually for that matter, even early stage, any entrepreneur to get started? What are the strategies that they can adopt?
I think really, first of all, you need to find something that touches you enough that you want to change something really and take any action. I would say, not having a clear action in mind, but really find something that really touch you, that you say, I should try something there. And then, of course, you don't need to think that you have already the solution. You just try. I was really thinking, try to pitch any ideas that come to my mind around the problem. Why was the problem a problem? For who was it a problem? And just thinking about yourself, just to make your idea clearer. And then, of course, integrate diverse people in the reflection. Really, as I really would recommend to include, like I made it with Ashoka, say, okay, that's touched me, that's hurting me, and I don't have really a solution, but I would like to do something. And then we have started to reflect based on this speech and really integrate some people as fast as possible, because it will help you to make consistency around this idea. And last but not least, after finding what touch you, and then also having some ideas around that and integrated some people for the discussion, design the solution together. Yeah, you don't need to do it alone. Just do it together.
I'm going to ask you a very straightforward question. Once you get an idea, once you think what to do, and you have a solution, where do you find the money from?
That's a good question. That was probably the more tricky one. I went to my boss. I would say, not at the beginning of the idea. I would say I wanted to have a budget, and that was something also difficult to define. To say, okay, what can we really achieve, and what would be the first step to do it? And we had not a full budget in mind. Clearly, we had established a budget for 1 year. Say, let's try something during the first year, and I can tell you, it was not a huge budget. So I was also, no, it was not a huge budget. When I see how much we spent for a lot of things, it's not a huge budget, because um, it is the interest of all the partners that it goes in the next step. So the effort for the sponsor is not so huge. And again, it was a small step. You have to accept to fail at the end of the first year. That probably, okay, finally, what we have done was not the right way, or was not convincing us, or we don't see really a trust enough to go further. I don't know, it's really, you have to build it step by step. So for the budget purpose, I went to my manager. I am leading my budget, and I said, if I make some saving there, can I try to drive this project? And they say, yeah, it's acceptable.
Great. That's a great way. Okay. So like you have a budget and you're saving something to create something additional. So that's really, really great way. We have a lot of social entrepreneurs who have actually said that once they get started on a solution, they probably have to invest something from their own savings. And most of the resistance actually come from their families, which is strange. But yeah, that's also a common kind of an observation that we found across a lot of speakers who have come and spoken to us, and also that we should accept failures. Okay, again, turning to you as an institution, as a person in a leadership role in an institution, what do you think are the key challenges an institution typically faces in implementing social innovation strategies, and how can they overcome these challenges?
When I think about your question now, I think the first answer would be the resources, the lack of resources. This is an easy one. For me, it's an argument to come as the first one. But personally, I really trust that the main challenge is not directly the resources, but the idea that you can do more doing it differently. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
So and even I would say in this project, what was a challenge, and I don't know if it's the same for all projects. I don't have enough experience in that social innovative approach, but you have to accept to lose a part of control. In our companies, in pharmaceutical companies, more specifically, you need to keep the control on the trial, on the quality, on everything. That's really our life. It's important. We don't want to go. But in that project of social partners, and the way we arrange the partnership is you lose a part of control because you have new partners who have also their own interests, their own way of working. And you have to accept that you will get more together doing it differently. So the resources for me at the end is, even if it's the first argument you always see in this discussion, I think you can counter it differently if you think about it, let's do more differently. And also the second aspect, the second challenge you find also is this acceptance to fail. I told you. That means probably not too big at the beginning. Think by small step, accept to make a first step. And at the end of the first step, say, okay, are we where we want it to be? Are we in a different direction? It's even better. Or are we just failing and we have to stop? And yeah, and that's okay. You can stop. It's in your hand to decide what finally is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So the acceptance to fail is really important as well for me.
And acceptance to fail is okay within an institution? Because as an entrepreneur,
yes.
sorry, yeah. As an entrepreneur, it's like your resources. So you can say, okay, I tested and then I found, okay, this is where we kind of got a roadblock. What about in an institution as an entrepreneur?
That's a good question. I would say as an entrepreneur, I think it's if you have made this small step, is the frame is clearly with the criteria is established. I think yes, it's acceptable. Yeah, you have somehow borders. Huh?
Nice. You're saying like there are criteria to accept. Okay, you put efforts, but yeah, it went only so much. Great. I have a question again around leadership, bringing a lot of questions around leadership because we are really exploring the scope of entrepreneurship. So, what role does leadership play in driving social innovation within institutions? And how can leaders foster the culture of innovation and social responsibility?
Leaders have a key role. For me, it's and they have different key roles. The first one is to encourage the creativity, to encourage the risk taking. As you mentioned, it's a risk, and it's not only a risk for the social entrepreneur, it's a risk also for the partners. It's a risk for all the people who will take part. For the students, it was a risk because they were somehow also taking part of their own time to do the project. So we have to accept really in the institution to have a kind of, and the leaders play a role in this, to encourage creativity, to take some risks, and the collaboration, to be open to new type of collaboration. And last or not least, of course, to allocate some resources, because I told you we would do more with less, but some or with different approach. And but you need to allocate at least some resources at the beginning to start. It's and last but not least, I have really seen that in my team, and I think it's really important to emphasize it, is to be a role model. If I start to make social entrepreneurship, I can tell you, my team below, they think also of themselves to drive also social entrepreneur. So it's really being a role model is also encouraging to do it and also trying it for yourself as a leader. Why not?
Great. And what role does governance play in this whole process?
The governance was more, I would say, to accept the fact that we launched the project. So this is the fact, the validation, I would say, step to validate the fact that we launched the project. And I would say at the moment, I would say in the project we drive, the governance is more updated about where we are, what we are doing, and there are some borders, of course, some lines or red lines. I would say we should be careful is when it can touch a business. So we should be very careful here that the social entrepreneur project does not somehow impact any business aspect, because then it's another dimension. It's really the business is a specific driven in pharmaceutical companies. So the way we do it should be then under another frame. So the governance is really at the moment more encouraging the resource and the budget part, and having an update about where we are, and of course being aware of where we want to go.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to come back to this example of your project. You have taken the first step, created a project, and it's also a very successful example of partnerships. Partnership, also BI, by the virtue of making more health, has witnessed various ways in which it has engaged with partners. So I'm going to ask you, can you share the importance of partnerships and collaborations in advancing social innovation within institutions and also creating positive change in the world?
So the partners we had, I told you we had a lot of partners already in the projects, and the partnerships are really, for me, facilitate the cross-sector, the cross-experience collaboration. That was really, for me, the most positive aspect of it. And also each of us we had our own network. So somehow we were able to activate a different kind of networks. So that was also very, very positive in the collaboration. And this enabled the institution to address social issues in a more holistic approach and effectively, because we were really able to empower students to be part of a project. So that's due to these networking activities and partnerships. And also this enriched the types of expertise inside the collaborations, because we had different skills, we had different interests, we had different approaches and different background experience. So I told you that, for example, state of mind are really a huge knowledge already with university and students activities. Ashok had really this change maker already network worldwide. So it was quite easy then, it makes things more easy with partners.
Great. Thank you. Beatrice, we have some questions coming from our live audience also, so we'll take a few. So we have a question that says, considering the future of healthcare industry and your long experience in the sector, in what areas do you think significant changes are needed? Adrienne Frandes is asking this question.
For me, wow, that's a huge question as well. I would say I think it's important to cultivate the emotional intelligence first, really, because emotional intelligence is really including self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills as well. And really, it's really crucial for effective leadership and collaboration to have this emotional intelligence. So I think it's something new, because it's not new, of course, in the background of all the working area, but it's something I think it's new if we really emphasize it more and more and more in the way we work. And it will really build strong relationship, and we will work more effectively in healthcare area with this emotional intelligence. And the second aspect I would say is really for me, if you want to be an agent of change, this requires you to take action. That means we don't wait for the perfect opportunity. And I know what I'm talking about because I'm coming from, I told you, pharmaceutical company, the standards as one of the highest of the industry. So yeah, here you have to really trust that you don't need to have a perfect opportunity or perfect solution, but you will start small. You will learn by doing and be
Yeah,
willing to adapt and iterate as you go.
got it. We'll take one more question, and this is perfectly aligned with your experience and your project. In your experience, what are the best ways to involve youth in your project? You're already working with youth. So, what has been your experience, and what did you learn from the process?
So my experience, I would say it was more easy when I was expected, I told you. So yeah, everything was just contacting the right person who called the right other person. And then finally in 2, 3 steps, you have already the right partner. And that's just talking with people. So I think my experience was it was more easy than what I was expected. It was
Mhm.
a different story from a more contractual aspect, really, because the question was coming very fast. Okay, what kind of contract do we have together? What kind of thing we should really align to trust each other? So it was really building this trust not on a specification written, but more on a expectation criteria. I told you. What are the goals? What are expecting it from each other? What they expect from me? What I expect from them? And it's really to elaborate some rules, some guidelines together and make it as a kind of contract. That was really for me one of the newest way of working. Normally we are more formalized, I would say. And also again, not have the full frame defined. So that was the last. Normally in industry, you want to have the final deliverables to say, okay, we will go step by step, but the final deliverables is clear. And now here, in this way of working, forget it. It's not feasible. So you cannot drive it like this. You have to drive it differently. So that was my learning here.
Great. And you made a great point about partners, identifying the right stakeholders and then engaging with them. So I probably will say that it wasn't your luck that you just kind of, identified the right partner or the stakeholder. What did go at the back of your mind when you thought about this entire problem or when you thought about the partner? How do you identify the right partners?
I would say the students help us because, when they have identified the different dimensions of well-being that was important for them, they really mentioned mental health as a really strong one. So somehow it guided us completely in the direction of mental health as a main trigger for the project. So I would say it was then quite easy. Of course, we have contacted different partners, not only with mental health. We had another partner I cannot give a name today, but very interesting one also was really more organizing webinars for students on the platform already
Mm,
and having more chat around these sustainable questions. But we really thought really the best approach was the mental health part. So I would say it was somehow the students who guide us. They were empowered to decide with us. So they guide us in the right direction.
great. But just because you're talking so much about the students and the youth, I'm going to come to a foundational question, especially because your project is about campus well-being. Is that what do you think is the difference in the campus life of when you were in college and the Gen Z now when they are in college?
I think they have stronger wish to
Mhm.
feel well. Yeah, that's the most important. They want to
Is
feel well. They
it?
want to decide. They want to empower themselves. To take the decision. They want to decide for themselves more. Yeah,
Okay, is that what emerged that our youth is more taking ownership of decisions that they
I think at least it looks like.
make?
I don't know if in the reality it's really the truth because you have always the structure, the family, the education, the family we're supporting or not. But I think with all what is available and what we have seen in the discussion, they are very, very strong actors when it comes, if you give them the voice to do it. So, yeah, they want to take it, they want to decide it. I see it like this. I don't know if it's really general, but at least in the group we had, it was really my observation.
Great. I'm also going to turn to your partnership with B. Herbert, a Ashoka Fellow from UK. What has been the relationship with B for you? And tell us more about the work that now you engage with her around the project.
Yeah, so Bee is a fantastic partner because she really drive a project perfectly, I would say, first of all. So she had really detailed, really the different approach we could have together with alignment also with Ashoka. She have strongly integrate her knowledge around mental health. She's guiding the students. She is helping us also to recruit the students worldwide. So she also helped us in the selection process to
Okay.
make yeah, of course. She is making an amazing job when it comes to empower the student, because she does not try also to influence them directly, but really let them the voice. So they have the ability really to be in a certain frame, but with the full power to decide what comes next. What can I tell you more? It's really just amazing. I would say if you listen B, you just are completely in love with what she's explaining you about mental health in general. So I think the limitation, the risk I see always is we drive also mental health business since a few years at BI. It's really quite young still, but very, very important for our future. And what was very interesting also is to see that again, not to mix the topics here. That was very important for her, and that was important for me to be sure that we support mental health for students, but for students, not trying to mix the topics here. So we care about that together, and it's really a trust from both directions that we drive it in the right approach. I don't know if I'm answering your question properly, Elena. So
Of course, of course. You're talking about your relationship and your exchange with Via. So, of course, because we just wanted to know that, yeah, you have collaborated with the for taking this platform ahead. And she's a psychologist, so she knows, what the youth need or what the mindsets are. So that's great.
One dimension probably I did not mention yet, what was also very important in this collaboration, is really to a certain point when it comes to the platform, it was really clear for me and for the team that BI does not own the platform. This project should be sustainable in itself. It's not a product of BI. So we sponsor it, we make somehow a lot of learning out of it, but it should be sustainable on itself. So that's great because B was able also to partner with other social partners. So it's just to see, it's like a spider at the end network nets. So it's really it's important to understand that our partners have also other partnership to support the project.
Interesting. Um, Beatrice, we have some more questions coming from the audience. And one of the questions that I'm taking up now is from Stephanie Reeve. And Stephanie's asking, what sort of mistakes should social entrepreneurs try to avoid? You didn't make any
I
mistake.
think, yeah. I'm not sure I'm a good at that, but I admit I make mistake as well. So how can we avoid to take mistake? I think, yeah, trust again, it's about emotional intelligence for me. It's really trust on what you see, what you feel, make some checkpoints. Don't hesitate to re-ask, to reiterate question. I think, yeah, there is not one truth. Huh? There is something you will build together. So the mistake would be to fly too fast without having checkpoints, I would say. That would be my recommendation.
That's a very, very valid recommendation. Starting small and make sure you have your checkpoints validated. We covered the minimum viability product in the module, so I'm sure people would have gone through those lectures and they would be able to see what are the common mistakes that are also part of the advice there. Another question that has come to us is how do you and your team motivate throughout, how do you and your team stay motivated throughout the whole journey of entrepreneurial project? Manasa is asking this question.
I would say we are motivated because the project motivates us. So, it's so how do we stay motivated? First of all, we talk about it. You see, for example, being with you today is really highly motivating for me. So it's not only the project is not finalized yet, but we also try to talk about it. To have a feedback from the people helped also a lot to be motivated. I would say at the beginning, I was fearing a little bit to talk about it because I was thinking, oh my God, it's not really directly my job. It's a little bit out of the scope. Do the organization will accept that we drive such project? But finally, BI is our company, our institution is really encouraging it. So we do it. That's great, really. So trust in you, trust in the fact that your organization is organizing it for you as well. So you have the ability to drive it.
Great. I'm also going to ask it in a little different way because this is not probably part of the flow yet. Is do you see some risks that should be part of any plan that you're developing so that you also have some risk mitigation?
Yes, I told you the risk mitigation I have for me is this mental health topics with a mental health business approach. I have to mitigate the risk here, and I really try to separate really it as clearly to be sure that we don't go in a direction where it can be confusing, at least for the message of the company. So, yeah,
okay.
That's the risk I have here for me is really this one, and I'm very careful in that area.
So you should make sure that it is not interfering with the business, is it?
Exactly. That's the point. Because when you enter in the business, you have specific frames, specific rules, specific standards. So you have not so much freedom, I would say. Or it should be clearly integrated in the business. And I'm not in that area, so I cannot tell you exactly how. But it should be clearly integrated in the business. I have seen some projects that it's part of the strategy of the business to do it like this. And most of the time it's more with startup. At the moment, I see it more with startup. This partnership is existing, but in a different approach.
Great. We've got another question about your project. So Linda is asking, campus well-being is so important. Are you planning to scale it up and how?
Of course, we start small, but we think big. So that's really a good question. Thank you. Yeah, of course we want to scale it up, but yeah, we want to. We are finalizing the platform this year. We will make some marketing beginning of next year normally, and if it's working well, of course, normally. Again, it should be sustainable. That means if it's interesting, I can tell you it will work by itself. So it will grow and scale, and we will help it to scale, of course.
Okay. And are you also planning to engage more co-workers into this project of yours?
At the moment, not really. It's not a big project for my resources, at least, and the resources in the company. But what we try to do is we will engage more people when we will have to give content, to the platform. So for this part, of course, BI will more participate from different regions, and we will ask also our communities inside the company to provide more support. Yeah.
Great. And any other important discoveries of the project that you want to share with us?
I would say, yeah, it's just amazing to, starting from just a feeling or an issue that you can try to drive something very concrete, very important, very with sense, with meaning for yourself and for the communities. So, yeah, I would just say I would encourage you to try everything you can in that direction. But again, don't think it too big. I know most of the time the people think, oh, it will be on the top of. But if it gives you the motivation and the sense of belonging to the company, the sense of belonging to something more important, you will find the energy, and it will be quite easy to drive it.
So how do you think of making it sustainable without, I mean, once BI exits the partnership, how have you started planning something already?
I think the partner should find an interest in it. That means the partner will find the interest in it at the end. So
Mm,
I cannot tell you exactly how. I know there are, I have some example that things were working already, were sustainable.
mm,
But yeah, I think the most important is if the partner find an interest to make it sustainable, and at the end that the students and us we support the I would say the feeling the fact to feel the data and feel the content, then and at the end could be that even the university will be super happy to find it. So
mm.
we don't know yet. You know, it's again it's a step by step. But what I mean by sustainable, it should not be. I did not want really that BI own the platform for that reason, because if BI own the platform, it
Correct.
becomes a business,
Yes.
and it's not BI business to own such
Yes.
platform. So it should be the
Yes.
business of someone who is really in that area. So yeah, we can just contribute, we can encourage, we can start the development with, but we cannot
Hmm.
drive it for
Drive it.
long term. It's really important that it is sustainable by itself.
Great. Also, Beatrice, some of our participants are asking, what indicators do you use to measure the impact of this project?
I would say at the moment I have no indicators because no, the indicators will be the number of students who will contribute and connect themselves to the platform. So I don't have this data at the moment, but it will be the main trigger for the platform, the connection, of course, to the platform. And for the project, of course, we have KPIs like the different steps we have defined together. Did we reach the timelines? Did we reach the engagement of students? We had to recruit some students, so we have to a certain level of engagement of students we wanted, so we have measured it. We have some indicators in the project, but really when it comes to the final criteria of the success of story of this platform will be the number of connection to the platform, the number of answer to the platform. Yeah.
Great. I really love the campus well-being project because I think for the first time I am beginning to see that there will be something, a reference point for the youth to get into college, not only based on academic information that they have, but also the kind of life they can imagine. Because otherwise, they'll have to go through this entire journey of going to the campus and then discovering, oh, this is not what I expected, or this is what I expected.
Mm.
If it's a great journey, great. If it is not a great journey, then of course, I mean, we see a lot of students kind of making shift from one college to another, university to university. I'm sure that this is going to be a great way to kind of address that situation.
I really hope it will in the end. And I try my best that it will go in that direction as well.
Great. Beatrice, in the interest of time, we will have to wrap up this great conversation. We can go on and on. Your project is so interesting. But in this course, we have diverse audience. We have entrepreneurs, and we also have individuals in various leadership roles in the healthcare sector. Do you have any advice for the learners as they develop the skills to become agents of change in their career and in communities?
You have followed the course. I hope you will go to the end. It's really important, I think. And try, I'm sure you have already an idea somewhere in your mind, of course, because you have seen things. My advice would be try to pitch it and try it to see how you can integrate it in your daily life, in your organization. And I'm sure we have social entrepreneur with us already today. We'll be very pleased to support you.
Great. This was a great conversation, Beatrice. And while we are winding up this conversation, I would say that are you open to people connecting with you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And are you part of the alumnus group on LinkedIn?
I don't know. Sorry, Lena. I am on LinkedIn for sure. If I'm part of the group, I'm not sure. Sorry for that. I will check it.
Great. Nevertheless, I'm sure people will find you because you're a speaker. So there are our participants will find a way to find you. So thank you very much for being with us. And I'm sure our learners would have had a great intake of wisdom from you and kind of great insights of what they should do moving forward. So it was delightful for me to also hear a lot of aspect of entrepreneurship. We hear in entrepreneurs quite often, but this was an entrepreneur talking right kind of from the experience that you recently had. So all the best wishes. We look forward to campus well-being coming alive. When is the launch?
Beginning of the first quarter of 2024.
Great. So we look forward to the launch of that. All the best for all of that. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
And for all of you watching us live, thank you for joining us. And we hope you took the survey and got your credits. Next week, we will open Module 4, which is focus on co-creation and leveraging shared value. Please hold your calendars for 7th of November for the 4th webinar of the season, where you will meet our guest expert for the session. And until then, enjoy Module 3 this week and keep sharing your reflections and your insights on the lessons in the discussion forum. Thank you again and see you soon.